Hello and welcome to Thought for June the 2nd. Our readings are Joshua chapter 19, Isaiah chapter 25 and Hebrews chapters 8 and 9. And our thought is, purify our conscience from... We live in a world where conscience is rarely mentioned. If someone is accused of wrongdoing, they usually do their utmost to dodge around the accusations and imply they are innocent. If they have to admit anything, they resort to saying something was inappropriate. Never that they told a lie. This is especially the case with politicians. This approach to the issues of life should never apply to true believers of Christ. When they truly examine their hearts and minds, they will be genuinely conscious of their failings. Our readings in the letter of Hebrews puts all of this into a balanced perspective. We read of the failures of those who lived under the law of Moses and offered the blood of goats and bulls for purification of the flesh. But note the comparison with those who are committed to following Christ. We read, "How much more will the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without blemish to God, purify our conscience from dead works to serve the living God?" Chapter 9, verses 13 and 14. The next verse tells us about Christ. He is the mediator of a new covenant, so that those who are called may receive the promised eternal inheritance. What a wonderful picture unfolds as we see references to the mediation work of Christ. In chapter 8, that the covenant he meditates is better since it is enacted on better promises, we read in verse 6, and quotes Jeremiah 31, verses 31 to 34 in the verses which follow, verses 8 to 12, to show how all this was revealed in the Old Testament. Particularly the prediction in verse 10, "I will put my laws into their minds and write them on their hearts, and I will be their God." What an active conscience that creates. Another contrast is drawn between the Old and New Covenants to show the difference between the priests in the Old Tabernacle with its most holy place and the situation now where Christ has entered into heaven itself, now to appear in the presence of God on our behalf. We read in chapter 9, verse 24. Now note the conclusion. "So Christ, having been offered once to bear the sins of many, will appear a second time, not to deal with sin, but to save those who are eagerly waiting for him." Verse 28. If we have developed a real heartfelt relationship with him, we will have an urgent sense of eagerly waiting for him. That will become even greater as we see this world disintegrating more and more into chaos. Well, thank you once again for joining us for Thought for the Day, where together we can open up the pages of God's Word, knowing that Word to be a lamp to our feet and a light to our path.